So what is going on? Why did Bitcoin and crypto dump some more overnight? And what is it going to do today? Well, I do have a warning for you guys, so make sure you're watching this video and spread it with all your friends. Obviously, there's a lot of talks about how the nation, the US, can go deeper into a recession, right? But with these hopeful economic data, seems like that's not going to happen. But there are a couple of things that are definitely affecting Bitcoin and markets right now, okay? Or crypto markets. Number one is the DXY, the dollar is climbing once again, okay? There is definitely a correlation. Whenever the DXY goes up, Bitcoin and crypto tends to go down. Now, why is this happening? Is the US dollar getting stronger? Well, not necessarily. The US dollar is actually getting weaker. We know that, right? But other currencies that the US dollar is pegged against are getting much weaker. For example, the Japanese yen, it is going down big time. So, and that is a big measurement against the DXY. So the DXY is actually going up because other currencies are just getting even weaker, right? And traditionally speaking, I don't have a comparison chart, but whenever DXY goes up, Bitcoin crypto tends to go down. So that may be one of the factors. Another factor is coming overseas, and that is China. China is looking very bleak right now, very deflationary, opposite of inflationary. And they have no choice now but to inject more capital, right? That's the last thing anyone really wants because it adds to inflation, of course, right? And that's exactly what we, Powell and everyone else does not want in the U.S., but sometimes we're forced to because we can't pay our debts. But in China right now, it's so bleak. It's so deflationary right now. They are just injecting. And not only that, cutting their rates too to try to stop the deflationary nature of their economy right now. So that is also pretty bad. But also, there has been correlation, like I believe TechDev has made this correlation whenever the Chinese 10-year bond, it also has like an inverse relationship with Bitcoin. So that could also have something to do with it. So right now, we know that Bitcoin is a little bit lower than yesterday, right? So overall, it's not a huge crash. It's not a huge dump. Just got a little bit weaker, right? And it could be due to these external factors. Now, here's the warning that I want to share with you guys, because there is something, okay? Right now, Bitcoin, in terms of trading volume, has dropped to its lowest level in history. Lowest level in history. Think about that. All the traders, all the leverage traders, and all these people that used to trade like crazy, where did they go? Kind of disappeared. It's kind of hard to imagine that right now is the lowest trading volume in Bitcoin's history, right? So people do equate low volume, low volatility with weakness. That's the problem. And there are a lot of short-term investors. I thought they all disappeared. I think we're all long-term investors now, right? I think last time I checked, it was over 75%. But unfortunately, there's still some short-term investors, and they are caving because they're equating the low volume, low trading as FUD. And that's not the way to do it. That's my warning, right? Like if you are new to the space, most of you guys are not. You've been watching me for years, so you should know. But if you are new to the space, you jumped in maybe a little bit higher than now, right? You may be feeling the pressure like, oh boy, Bitcoin is falling, right? No one's trading, no one's buying, right? And there's a little weakness, right? So I get it. So there are people that are somewhat afraid. That's why short-term investors, actually, a lot of them are starting to sell right now, right? So if you add all that up, that's kind of like what's happening. But here's the thing, okay? This is why I'm going to give a warning. Throughout Bitcoin's history, this has always been the case, right? Even very, very short term. You could see that yeah, after Bitcoin did this, what did it do? It trended down and then it went back up, right? So, I mean, even on a short-term scale, we see this often. But if you zoom out on a yearly scale, you definitely see it, right? So there are times when there's just weakness. There's just low volatility, or, there's not a whole lot going on, that there's just like, it seems like it's very stale and stagnant, right? But that's actually when you want to pick up, because when these short-term investors are selling, right, and there is market pressure, that's the best time to be buying, right? That's why I've always said you don't want to sell or panic sell ever, because you're just transferring your wealth to someone else. And that's exactly what these short-term investors are doing. They're transferring it to the rest of us, which is actually a really good thing. So when things are down, that's when you want to pick up, because how you make gains, how you make profit in investing, in crypto investing, in Bitcoin investing, in any kind of investing, is you pick up when things are low and then you sell high. And the reason why it's great to be buying now and great to be buying when things are low, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, is because the fundamentals and metrics just support it, right? I mean, there's no way you could tell me the number of hold or lost coins that's now at all-time high and continues to form new all-time highs, that this doesn't have an effect on Bitcoin. No, it does. More and more people are buying and holding Bitcoin. The supply is being removed from the exchanges and just simply being held. And Bitcoin is a scarce asset because there's a finite supply. There's a total supply. And less of it is being released every 4 years. That's why we have the halving event, right? Take a look. Number of addresses holding 10 Bitcoin. You could consider these guys the rich guys, right? Not whale level, but pretty darn rich, holding 10 plus Bitcoin. Again, pretty darn high, right? I mean, the fundamentals of Bitcoin has never, ever been better. And plus, from a technical standpoint, I'm not the biggest technical guy, but there are a lot of technical people that keeps on charting Bitcoin. Even they say, you know what? This is perfectly normal. This mimics previous cycles that we have gone through before, which also didn't just go straight up to the moon. There was pullbacks, setbacks, low volatility, or even high volatility, you could argue, right? And again, those times were scary. It scared out short-term investors, and the ones that sold out lost, right? So it's the same thing this time around. So there's a lot of technicals that's even supporting Bitcoin's bullishness and bull run that's going to be coming next year, right? So I guess my bottom line is don't be panicking. Don't be panic selling, especially, right? There'll be times where it's kind of scary. And then, better days come and then you forget those days. And then you move forward, right? But whenever we do have volatility or FUD or a little bit of selling or even others panic selling, that's when it's a great time to be DCAing and continue to hodl and continue to focus on the future.